If you look at Democratic states, look, you go look at New York versus Florida, okay? Roughly the same population. The budget of New York State is twice that of Florida. What do they have? Streets paved with gold?
In this video, Bill Maher speaks with two card-carrying Democrats, CNN host Fareed Zakaria and Rahm Emanuel. Bill Maher surprisingly gets Fareed Zakaria to acknowledge what we've all known forever, that the Democrats' opposition to Trump and his policies is weak, and that the Democrats aren't even doing a good job governing. A rare, honest moment from a Democrat. With that, let's watch Bill Maher and his two Democrat guests torch the ineptitude of the Democrat Party.
Okay, welcome to Overtime with the best-selling author and host of CNN's Fareed Zakaria's DPS, Fareed Zakaria, and the former mayor of Chicago and former ambassador to Japan, Rahm Emanuel, and chief of staff, weren't you? You don't think that's a more impressive credit than those other two? Chief of staff of the White House? I feel like that is the biggest job you can have in this country behind the president. Isn't that the gatekeeper of everything, the chief of staff?
It is the gatekeeper, but the biggest job is mayor.
Of Chicago.
Yeah. And then chief of staff is the worst job until you get through it, and then you look back fondly on it. But going through it is
They don't last long. I mean, like, it's so intense, right, that you can only do
18,
it for like
18 to 19 months is the modern average.
Right.
Yeah. Not that I figured that out, but I want you to know that.
But with ambassador, you get called the honorable ambassador for the.
Yeah,
and so you probably get better restaurant reservations with that.
So sensitive, don't you think? Yeah, you do. And it's Your Excellency from now on to you. Okay? I went through Senate confirmation.
All right, this is from the people. What do you think about Trump's proposed $5 million gold card visa for wealthy foreigners? Is it smart economic move or a problematic policy? I guess I know what he's talking about. Trump wants to sell a visa. You get permanent residency. By the way, we are hardly, I looked this up, we are hardly the first country to do this. Doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. But, you know, I remember...
Yeah, we actually have a version of it. It's called, I think it's called the EB-5 or something like that. So it's fine to do it. I actually think maybe it's because I'm, very patriotic. I think 5 million, we should be charging 20 million, or, American citizenship is worth more than that.
It comes with Ukrainian minerals, though.
But what I love about Trump is he said, you get the green card, but with this, the gold card, you get extra privileges. like what? You get to vote twice? Or what?
It's amazing.
Well, now you're speaking Chicago language. I'm for it, but it's part of a bigger package on immigration reform. It's been 42 years since the last one, so I'm not against it. But it's part of a whole package.
I read that the current mayor of Chicago has an approval rating of 6.6%.
Rounded up, 7.
Okay. But I mean, you were just the ambassador to Japan. If that was your approval rating in Japan, they would do harakiri on the live TV.
They would do it at 27.
I mean, what's going on in Chicago?
What's going on in Chicago? It's what a city looks like when you put in place every single far-left silly policy and see what happens. The California experiment wasn't enough for them. They had to go even further. It is a nightmare there. If you've ever watched the town hall meetings in Chicago with Brandon Johnson, the mayor, first of all, no one likes him, obviously, with that 6% approval rating. That's almost impossible with the margin of error. That's crazy, but no one likes him. They're all screaming at him, and every other sentence is racism, racism, racism. It is crazy. We cover a lot of race baiters on this channel, but this guy is bad. Like, if Trump pulled the stuff that this guy does, as far as his transparency with the media, they would be all over him. But I don't know how this guy gets a pass. He is a nightmare, just like the vast majority of Democrat mayors in other cities. I don't know if you caught it, but when Bill brought up this gold card visa that Trump is suggesting, the whole crowd booed. Then when Fareed Zakaria said, shoot, I think we should charge 20 million for it, and Rahm Emanuel said, I don't have a problem with it, they're all like, yeah, and started cheering. They literally heard the name Trump in the question, started booing it. But when these guys said, yeah, I agree with it, they were like, yeah, what a bunch of lemmings. If someone has enough money to spend on that and they're vetted and they want to come here and spend their money in the United States, come on over. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Look, I mean, this is, we were talking about this a little earlier. I mean, you have also the mayor of New York not doing well. Obviously, other things also here in Los Angeles not doing well, the mayor here. Look, and then you got mayors like the mayor of San Francisco and other cities that are doing well. So I would say, look, there is a general rule. I had this when I was mayor. Safe streets, strong schools, stable finances. Focus on those three things and your city's gonna be fine. We've gone through 5 years where people became way too permissive of the culture. They were all, which is why everything's locked up at Walgreens and CVS, and that is a disaster. Yeah. And our school, and I'll say this about our schools. I don't wanna hear another word about the locker room. I don't wanna hear another word about the bathroom. You better start focusing on the classroom.
I agree.
We had the worst reading scores for 8th graders in 30 years. And nobody, not a governor, not a mayor, not a president, not a secretary of education is talking about it. We're all wrapped up. Look, in 7th grade, if I known that I could have said the word they and got in the girls' bathroom, I would have done it. Okay, we literally are a superpower. We're facing off against China with 1.4 billion people, and 2/3 of our children can't read 8th grade level. So no more about the lot. Wait a second, I'm on a roll for a second. No more. I don't want to hear.
I gave him the light. But
I don't want to hear another word about the classroom. I don't want to hear another word about the bathroom until you tell me what you're going to do with the classroom.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more.
But I think, to be fair, this is actually...
I was being fair.
No, this is a huge Democratic Party problem. If you look at Democratic cities, they are terribly run. They have incredibly high taxes. It is impossible to build, so the cost of housing... Let me finish, I give you a chance. Cost of housing is crazy in places like New York and Chicago. If you look at Democratic states, you go look at New York versus Florida, okay? Roughly the same population. The budget of New York State is twice that of Florida. What do they have? Streets paved with gold? I live in New York. I pay the highest taxes in New York. You get nothing for it. And I think that is the image people have of the Democratic Party. Sure. Lots of taxes, lots of regulation, but nothing gets done.
Hey,
and I think
I live in L.A.
Right. And I think, listen.
That's the most honest thing I've heard come out of a Democrat's mouth in a long time. The perception Americans have of Democrats is you get nothing for your taxes. Lots of taxes, lots of regulation, but nothing gets done. That's the image that Americans have because that's the fact. I mean, that's literally sounds like something I would have said in one of these videos. I live in Florida, and he did the Florida versus New York comparison. It's not even close. I've traveled all over the country, lived a lot of places. I'd visit New York again, but why would I want to give another huge chunk of my paycheck to live in New York and get way less for my mortgage or rental payment? Where in Florida, I've got no state income tax. It's beautiful and sunny all the time. It's not overcrowded. It's clean. Only thing I could complain about is the humidity, but that's not enough to push me out of here. No shoveling snow. It's nice here. Now, Rahm Emanuel said he doesn't want to hear anything about the locker room until we talk about the classroom. He says no one's been talking about it. I know I've talked about it. I think the right has talked about forever how bad our math and reading scores are. And they would be bad no matter what, but the pandemic was like a turbocharge to hold students back. But we're off to a good start. We did one thing right. We got rid of the Department of Education. So there's a bunch of waste we didn't need to spend money on. What I don't understand is why are school vouchers not just a no-brainer? Take the money that's set aside for that student and let the parent decide how they spend that money, and the market will determine which schools are best. And the ones that are failing won't get funded anymore. I know I'm simplifying the problem significantly, but I think school vouchers are the way to go because the garbage schools will have to up their game. They can't get away with their doing the bare minimum anymore. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
If the Democrats have to own this and realize the answer to everything is not more taxes, more regulation. People are fed up of that, and they feel that it isn't working.
The Democrats, look, as somebody who produced the best graduation growth in the country, and we changed our high schools.
You were a good mayor. I agree.
No, that's not the point. The point was we changed, but I'll take that. The point isn't the rules. The point is the results. And the party has gotten way too focused on what the rules are. And I do agree with you on this. We have made it impossible to function as a city or as a state, and been so, take an example of this example. Here, obviously in LA, it took a fire and a natural disaster to make you realize, you know what, that rule's not that important. In Pennsylvania, a bridge collapse, all of a sudden we go, well, that environmental rule is just not important. We got to build a bridge. It's much more important. And I think the Democratic Party should take a look at and say, we're going to be honest, like we did in 1994 with reinventing government. Everything is on the table. Nothing is safe. And we can just look at it and say, that's essential. Those two things get out of here. And that doesn't happen. And that's a fair criticism.
Maybe this is your next Democratic vice presidential candidate, maybe presidential candidate. And by the way, he's also, that counts as handicap. You can slip him by.
If you like watching videos like this one, like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to the video.
This gets you handicap parking right here.
That added nothing to the show. Okay, our calls for economic boycott today, where consumers are urged only to purchase from small businesses, likely to be effective in holding billionaires like Jeff Bezos to account. Yeah, I was going to cover this issue and we ran out of time.
I'll give you a boycott.
But wait a second, let me tell, if people don't know what I'm talking about.
There were people doing interpretive dances. They're also, protest to Trump. There's like a whole...
This is something called the People's Union USA. And they have something called today, I got emails about this from people, No Spend Day. And it's against the malign influence of billionaires, big corporations, and both major political parties on the lives of working Americans. And what it is you refrain from making any purchases, either in stores or online, to shun fast food, getting gas, for a full day. I know. That look on your face says it all. You're right. It's so fucking stupid and lame. The idea, right.
Whoever wrote that has way too much time on their hands.
No, this is the thing that's going on today.
It mistakes. This is why I was saying that there really is a movement of people doing interpretive dances to protest the Trump administration's cuts of USAID. I mean, like, people are starving.
I got to admit, these guys are on it. I mean, when Bill just said it's so effing stupid, that no spend day idea, it's exactly what I was thinking. And then both of these guys agreed, even freaking Rahm Emanuel, I can't stand him. But that was a great line. He goes, whoever wrote that has too much time on their hands. It's literally, I was going to say something to that effect. Look, I'm not a fan of any of these guys, but I do respect when they're telling the truth. But we want to hear from you. What did you think about this conversation between three Democrats that are actually being honest for a change? Let us know. Anyway, as always, really appreciate you watching, and we will see you on the next one.